Paris was born here. 23 centuries ago, the Gallic tribe known as the Parisii founded a settlement on one of several small islands in the Seine. Caesar passed through or nearby 2 centuries later and called it in his commentaries Lutetia. A Roman town of that name rose in the reign of Augustus. It was concentrated on the left bank, which was higher and less prone to flooding. Though never very important, it had perhaps 7,000 or 8,000 inhabitants. Lutetia gained all the trappings of a self-respecting provincial town, including a forum and amphitheater. All of this is still buried beneath modern Paris and can be seen if you know where to look. The Forum of Lutetia was located here in what are now the august confines of the Sorbonne. Unfortunately, almost nothing survives today, beside a small section of wall visible in a subterranean parking garage. The amphitheater of Lutetia, built around the year 200, had a capacity of some 15,000 people, about twice the size of Lutetia itself. It was abandoned by the 4th century and had been totally forgotten by the 19th century when one of Baron Haussmann's boulevards uncovered it. It was decided to reconstruct the amphitheater as a public park, and so it remains today. This is the best preserved Roman building in Paris, the so-called Cluny Baths. Built in the 2nd century, the most intact section, which we're looking at here, is the Frigidarium, the cold bathing room, which survives to vault height. In the 15th century, this became the centerpiece of the Hôtel de Cluny, which now houses a museum of medieval art. As Paris grew, quays were built along the Seine so that merchant vessels and fishing boats could land and unload. We see here, in the crypt under the Parvis of Notre Dame, a reconstruction of what that port might have looked like. During the 4th century, Lutetia, now known as Civitas Parisiorum, the root of our Paris, came under increasing pressure from barbarian raids. Settlement withdrew to the Ile de la Cité, which is fortified with a rampart made of blocks recycled from the grand monuments of the left bank. We see that wall here. These blocks were taken in large part from the arena and the forum. Next to the ramparts was this bath, used in the 4th and 5th centuries. As you can see, it's not on the same scale as the Cluny Baths, which were designed for the general public. This bath was apparently reserved for the rich and powerful of late antique Paris, and had room only for a few bathers. Like the rampart beside it, it was made largely of reused material. It consisted, like most baths, late antique and earlier, of a small suite of heated rooms. This is not a Roman building, though it desperately wants to be. The Pantheon of Paris, the resting place of modern France's greatest heroes, is of course modeled on the Pantheon of Rome, with a great deal of additional elaboration and sculpture, as you can see. Originally, however, this national shrine was a church of Saint Genevieve, the patron saint of Paris. Genevieve lived in the early 5th century. Her life is known only through saints' lives, which are not very reliable, but they do tell us that she was hugely influential on the development of Paris. It may have been her who convinced Clovis, the Frankish king, to convert to Christianity. And it may have been her tomb's site here in Paris that made the Frankish kings site their capital in this place, so far from the outskirts or the economic centers of their realm. It seems fitting, in short, that this structure, built over the tomb of Saint Genevieve, is so Roman, and that Paris's greatest lieu de mémoire has a classical shape.